Hi, everybody. It's Saturday night.
Hold on.
Oh.
We're not focusing for some reason. We're focusing.
Oh, well, technical difficulties
There
when
we
you
go,
do
there
things
we
at
go.
home. Okay. Hey, well, happy Saturday, everybody. It's 7 p.m., so you know what that means. It's time for Side Dish. As always, I'm Doug Bookie, unless I go crazy and then I'm somebody else. With me, as always, is my lovely wife and producer, Amy, behind the camera, taking the chat. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is a show about side dishes. That's all we make here. The main dish is well represented out in the world of culinary, so we're going to focus on side dishes. Tonight we got a twofer for you, so if you're tuning in for the first time, aren't you in for a real big surprise? We're going to do two things tonight. We're going to make baked beans, and you're like, Doug, baked beans seem like it's going to take longer than the time this show takes in 40 minutes or 45 minutes. That's correct. We're actually going to do it in the Instapot. I wanted to do two things tonight because I wanted to do a hot and a cold. And the other dish we're doing is it's called a shrimp and an egg salad. It's pretty simple. It's a favorite around here. My mother-in-law really loves it. We make it on Mother's Day. And so we're going to make it tonight because it is delicious. So just want to say, everybody, thank you to everybody who's liked and subscribed to the channels or the channel. If you haven't done so, it'd be really awesome if you could do that. Just subscribe, go back, watch the videos. Speaking of videos, when this one is done live, it takes a little while for it to go up, the video to show up as able to be watched on the sites or on the page. So just wait a little bit of time. If you miss it or if somebody misses it, let them know they can either watch it tomorrow or they can watch it later tonight. All right, so we're going to get started first. We're going to do the baked beans. Now, currently, the baked beans are in the Instapot, and I'd already done them. Well, I haven't done the beans. I've done the baked beans. I've gone ahead and just put the pinto beans. You could use navy beans for this. I'm using pinto beans because that's what they had at the store. But it's 16 ounces of pinto or navy beans, 8 cups of water, and 1 teaspoon of salt. All you're really doing there is you're just preparing the beans. You're gonna when we get to a point, I'm probably gonna. It says to you're gonna let that cook on your Instapot. You're gonna set it to manual. Let it get to 25 minutes, and then get up. It's gonna get up to pressure, and it's 25 minutes, and then it's gonna try and come down naturally. So that's what you want. You want it to come down naturally. We're going to probably cheat that a little bit, which is fine because we're going to put the beans actually back in here with all the rest of our ingredients, and they're going to cook another 12 minutes. So if you've got a little bit of leeway, you're going to be able to take care of that. So we don't actually have that much pressure left. I mean, maybe a couple minutes, not of that.
So see how that steam is shooting at the cabinet? If you have a place where you can put your Instapot so the steam doesn't shoot at your cabinet,
that's even better.
I've been warned about that.
Because you will warp the wood and you can't open your doors.
Yeah.
So this is going to do that. And then, so what we've got is baked beans are kind of a staple, another kind of side dish staple if you like. There's a million varieties out there. You can pretty much add what you want. I'm going with a really basic sort of variety here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus the beans, ingredients. And then that's pretty much it. A lot of these you're probably already going to have in your pantry. So you really need an onion, 1 yellow onion diced.
Look at it.
Finely diced per the recipe, as we know what a fine dice looks like. You can use a green pepper here too. I went with the red because I wanted it a little sweeter. It's also diced. And then I went with a little bit thicker sliced bacon. It's 8 strips of bacon. And I went ahead and just gave a rough chop. Nothing. We're not building rocket ships here. It's got spicy brown mustard, ketchup, your favorite barbecue sauce. You could make barbecue sauce if you wanted to, if you're really fancy. I didn't want to get fancy tonight because, that's another thing. Brown sugar. It calls for light brown sugar, but I'm going to use dark brown sugar, mostly because the real difference is the molasses content in here. That's what, you got molasses in here. So you're going to get a little bit sweeter, maybe beans, and liquid smoke. Now this is concentrated liquid smoke, strong stuff. You only need to use this a little bit, like very teeny tiny. And then just literally apple cider vinegar. That's it. So as we go forward here, and then on the egg shrimp salad side, it's a little salad shrimp. You can see it here if you don't see those. They're little guys. I don't know. These seem that they're a little sweeter. I like them. They're good. 6 hard-boiled eggs with a large chop to them. 2 cups of the shrimp. 2 stalks of celery. 1/4 of an onion finely diced. If you've got dry dill, you can use that. We're going to use fresh tonight because I've got it. And it says 1 teaspoon here, but look for the conversion of what dry spice to fresh spice or fresh spice is or herb. For this, you're going to probably want a little bit more because dried is going to be more concentrated in its flavor. And then salt, Old Bay, mayo, and a half a lemon. And, so, ooh, that sound means it's beans time. All right.
Don't
So-
hurt yourself.
I didn't. I know that you're surprised by that.
Aren't you going to take that pot out though?
I'm gonna
Safety first.
safety first, everybody. We got basically boiling hot beans in here. All right, so we're gonna come on. The nice part about an Instant Pot recipe, if you have an Instant Pot out there, you already know this, but it's all one thing. So we're gonna clean this out real quick. We're gonna run. I think you have to run cold water over this. You have to remember. Beans pot pour into colander strain. Rinse with cold water. Okay. That's just gonna beans are starchy, right? Beans, the musical fruit. Where you do that song. It's because it's got a lot of fiber and it's got a lot of starch in them too. So they're actually pretty punch for it. I'm gonna let this water run a little bit, and then all we're gonna do after that is I'm just going to rinse. No, I don't even have to do that. So add this back.
Oh, that pot wasn't super hot?
No, not anymore. Once I took it out of there, it wasn't hot.
No.
Because I think it's probably aluminum, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And aluminum doesn't hold heat as much as other stuff. All right. So we're just going to throw the bacon in here. We're going to let this saute. We need this lid, so don't throw it away. Set that back over here. Now, don't just put your beans in your colander and just let them sit there where the water hits the same spot over and over, because the bottom ones are not getting much water. So you got to give them, a shake, shake. And that's what you did, right? Nice. Oh, got beans on the run. Okay. Well, that's good there. Wooden spoon. And we're just going to let this. Sorry, you're over there.
It's okay.
You're
You're kind of all over the place. Okay, I'm good.
You're over here this week. So I'm going to look at that so I can stand on this side. All right, so I'm just going to stir that up so it kind of spreads out the bacon. And we're going to just let that kind of do its thing. Let's see, how long do I need to do that? I don't remember. Bacon, saute for a few minutes until it starts to get golden brown, tossing and scraping down. Drain some of the grease. We'll get a spoon for that. Let's peel some eggs. We have 6 eggs to peel still. We're using the same method we used the last time. 10 minutes in medium heat boiling water. Take it out, put it into ice bath, and let it sit for 4 to 5 minutes, and then drain. And you should have a nice egg that is not underdone.
We'll see.
If you do not, hey, we didn't put our lights up today.
Oh shoot! Okay, keep going.
Anyways, we forgot our studio lights, which are just 2 lamps with the shades off of them. But you work with what you got. If you want to go longer, if you like that, go ahead and go longer. We're not going to do that here. So pretty soon, here's what's going to happen. It's going to get real bright in here, and you're going to be like, oh, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to look better, and that is always a good thing. So here we go. I know, the exciting world of egg peeling. You think you can make a sport out of egg peeling to see like how many you could do over a certain amount of time that are the prettiest? Like you can make that happen.
I think they have egg eating contests, but
Yeah. My baby Luke could eat 50 eggs in 1 hour.
who?
This is from Cool Hand Luke.
Oh,
It's a Paul Newman movie, and he is in a prison camp. And George Kennedy, who has adopted him as like one of his things, says my baby Luke could eat 50 eggs in 1 hour.
hey.
Yeah.
You have a question about did you boil the eggs in the Instapot too?
I did not. You can do that. I didn't. There's recipes out there. We have done that in the past. I think if you're in a hurry, you could do it. I should say that. I should preface that. The Instapot. I'm gonna create recipes for the Instapot, I think, that give you the actual time period. We're gonna time how long it typically takes for your Instapot to come up to pressure, and then we're gonna do the time period of which it takes to cook, which is in normal recipes, and then at the end of that, we're gonna take the time it takes to come down naturally, because that's what your Instapot is doing. That's the recipe, right? So,
But the recipes don't ever say that.
No.
They just say the cooking time.
and you're like, oh, I can make like hard-boiled eggs in 6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes plus another 18 to everything come up and then go from there. Yes, but you can definitely do that. And actually, I mean, if you're doing a great amount, I mean, you probably could put a bunch in there. I mean, and how to do that. So, all right, let's do a little stir. So, if you don't have an Instapot, I mean, can you get by without one? Probably. But they're pretty handy when you we make soups in them a lot, and like zuppa toscano, and like even that, it just cuts down on the time. So it's like if you're in a kind of it does for soups because you want to take, or if you're going to what did I make? A pot roast. A pot roast you want to cook over, a long time, slow and low kind of to get it tender, because often pot roasts are made with a cut that's not as tender. So pressure cooking, which is basically all you're doing here. Don't be afraid of that. It's not like old days where the lid would shoot off and you've got to worry about it. But you're gonna, you're pretty safe. This is all electronic and it knows what it's doing. So, yes, we have a question.
Talk about how you get your eggs to actually peel.
Oh, well, you want to get them out of the hot water and into an ice bath as quickly as possible. Now, the other thing that I've learned, and eggs have this little indentation on the bottom. So the shell doesn't grow into that indentation. It goes to the easiest route and it grows over. So there's always there's a lot of times a hollow, cavity there. And you can just take the bottom of it and smack it down and it'll crack there, which gives you an in on the shell. The other thing is, I think like the membrane that's between the egg, the shell and the white, that's important to get and going. Now, by breaking it at the top, you've broken that membrane and your eggs are, they're coming off in pretty big shells. So, I know that we, in the past, I've made an egg salad one time or we made something and the two of us sat at the sink and we basically were grumbling the entire time and we didn't get one full egg. I think we're making deviled eggs for Christmas
Probably,
or something
and they
like
were super ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, they taste the same, but they're ugly.
Yeah. So look how pretty that is. You might lose a little bit, but I mean, I'm just taking my time here. We got some sauteing time here.
Are you gonna rinse those when you're done?
Yes, I'm gonna yes.
Okay.
We're taking the shell out of them. Don't worry, everybody.
I'm quality control here, sir.
I know. Also, I noticed, and from rewatching these, which I do not really rewatch these because it's weird to watch yourself when you know what you've done. Unless you're really forgetful, then rewatch yourself all you want. But I did notice in the first episode, Amy and I tried the food that we made. Every subsequent episode, we have not tried what we made. So some of you might be out there going, you didn't eat any of that. What are you doing, you weirdo? So tonight, we will be trying the baked beans and we will try the shrimp and egg salad. If you get a wild hair and you wanted to, after you've used this, what we've done is I make, for Mother's Day, I make a Mother's Day brunch. So I make, eggs and that kind of stuff. And this is.
I think you mean we.
Well, yeah, okay, we do, whatever. But we make it, and then we make the shrimp and egg salad for that as a side dish. But if you've got leftovers, which you might not, it's perfectly acceptable to take this side dish, add it to a beautiful croissant or something like that, and make a nice shrimp and egg salad. Now,
or serve it on a bed of lettuce.
you can also do it on a bed of lettuce, and you can have yourself a gluten-free,
But we thought both of these things are good things since some people are getting out and doing barbecues and things. Small groups, these are good side dishes to take along.
Yep. And we're going to be exploring that a little bit more. I think I'm going to make something for breakfast again, like we did with the potatoes O'Brien, maybe in the next one. What are your favorite breakfast side dishes besides that? What would you consider a breakfast side dish? That's the real question. I mean, breakfast is one of those meals. It's like, I guess like hash browns are technically a side dish. Sausage would be what's the main dish on an egg plate? Is it the eggs? It's like sausage and 2 eggs. It seems to me like it's a dual use there.
Well, think about like when you go to a buffet, which we'll probably never go to again, but if and when you go to a buffet for breakfast, what are the sides?
Again, it all depends it all depends on, in my opinion, what you consider the main dish of breakfast. Is breakfast a collaborative meal in which there are no main dishes? What a world that would be.
So we're talking strawberries, English muffins, toast, sausage. We're suggesting that you should do an episode about how to make good gravy for biscuits and gravy.
That is a great idea. I make excellent sausage gravy. So if you've, Amy does not like sausage gravy, so I never get to make it. So this will be great. Again, I'm coming along to the idea that breakfast is maybe more of a collaborative meal in which there's no star. Unless you're making waffles, obviously, or pancakes.
Folks also think that reruns of side dish are fun to watch and good for binge drinking.
Good for binge drinking? Ooh. Well, I don't know if I can do binge drinking, but each their own. Do so safely and don't drive anywhere. That's all that's all I can really do. All right, this bacon is starting to take on some color. It's got a little bit more. I want to get it crispy because you want to get the Maillard reaction going, so you get some of the caramelization of the fats. So and you get the little crispy bits that are sticking to the bottom of the pan. So that happens when your meat starts to brown and get the crust. So like when you sear a steak and it gets that nice crispy top on it, that's going through what's called the Maillard reaction, and it's when heat is introduced to meat like that, and you basically are searing it. And don't believe the myth that searing locks in juices. It does not. All it's doing is adding more flavor. I have gotten away from even barbecuing steaks. We just put them in a sous vide machine, which is a water circulating machine. And we get it to a medium rare, or a little bit above 129-ish, and then cast iron skillet, a little oil in there, dry it off a little bit from the moisture of the bag, and then throw it in there. One side, turn the heat off, throw it in there, and go. I know that's not what you're here for, but if you were wondering what the hell that's all about, that's what we're doing. So
maybe we should do a side dish with the sous vide.
We could do that. We could show a different method. there's
Oops, I'm not tracking you very well.
That's all right. I don't want to throw those away. I want to keep those for the worms. The worms. I'm in the middle of we're doing a horizontal feeding of my composting worms right now, so that I can get the compost that they've made over the last 120 days or more, and I can put them into I can put them into bags and I can use them in the garden. What are we getting?
Ted wants to know if you sous vide, do you have to add the carcinogens?
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's what you're. I mean, technically, when you throw them into the on the barbecue, which I have sous vide and thrown them onto a really, really hot charcoal grill. Our friends who were in the studio audience last week, Andrew and Lino, have a big green egg, and they can get that thing up to like 500-600 degrees. And we just throw. I mean, it's literally throw it on there. It's like a 30-second count. Turn it 30 seconds, and they're done because they're getting that char right away.
John suggests waffles as a side dish for breakfast as well.
Again, yeah. We're going to do a large chop on these eggs. I'd like it. You saw when we made potato salad, we used the slicer. I'm going to do a rough chop on this. You want it to have bits and not in texture of that, and it's going to break down. So I typically just cut in half, and
So other things going on around here, we're having our house painted.
It's true. And the guy is very meticulous. So he's what, day 3 already?
Yeah, it kind of makes me crazy because I'm here all day, but he's doing a good job. That's what counts.
How's your quarantine life going? Is anybody back to work regularly? Did you leave work? Did you ever leave work if you're on that side of things? What's that all about? I mean, I'm back to work, sort of. I've been working from home the whole time, but I mean, in the office work, I don't know. I've been working and 4 days this week, and I got to tell you, it's a rough transition back to my day job, but it's all right. It's you get into a rhythm, and that rhythm has been pretty awesome because my office at work is underground and I have no windows. My office here at home has windows, and it's pretty awesome. And so, yeah. So what about you guys? How's their quarantining or lack
John
of?
says work from home, sort of back. He saw Billy, and that was good.
Yeah.
Billy's back at the office 50%. Doug also just got a new couch in his home office, so that doesn't hurt.
It doesn't, and it's 84 inches long, and I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2", and so. Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. This bacon is good. Okay, so.
So you can full on touch that, and it's not that hot?
It's not that hot. No. All right. I'm not going to touch it anymore because I got to take it out. So that means the bottom's going to. Where did I put those?
To the right of the sink.
Yep. Thanks. Sometimes, as Amy likes to point out, I use my man eyes to find things. And, well, I'm not going to argue with her about it, but I've also seen her use man eyes too.
It's true. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, man eyes are just.
What you got there?
Oh, I got this old timey bacon grease trap, which actually we don't use enough bacon grease. This needs to be like 4 times as big because it's starting to get a little full. I'm just pouring off like a little bit amount of this because
what would you use that grease for later?
Ooh, you can use it for anything. It is like a flavor bomb. Vegetarian, well, don't put bacon in this. That's all I can say. Or you can put faux bacon, I suppose. But who wants to do that? If you're going to do it, you might as well just go all out, right? I think. All right, let's see here. Now that we've done that, add the bell pepper and the onion until tender.
Some folks are saying they're more productive at their office now because there's less people there. It's quiet.
Yeah, I will tell you. I find myself more relaxed working from home, and it's not that my job can be stressful, but it's not like I work at the university here in Reno, and I'm in the OIT department. But I don't know. There's just a vibe here that's like I can take an hour, collect my thoughts, sit on my couch, watch a little TV maybe, and then go back to it. And I am more productive. I mean, I've gotten a lot of, I think I've gotten the work that you would do, you know, that's like, oh, I'm not going to do that today because I have something more pressing, right? I've gotten a lot of that done, which is good. But at the same time, I'm also like, whew.
So what's in that pot right now?
Okay, we've got bacon. We have 1 medium to large onion, finely diced, and half of a red bell pepper. And we're just gonna soften these and get a nice. I'm also taking the opportunity while those go in there, the onions and as they sweat out liquid from both of them, you're gonna want to get in here, and you got a lot of that fond, which is the stuff brown bacony bits that have stuck to the bottom of this pan, and you're gonna want that because that's like concentrated flavor. So good. So you just want to get in here and you want to give a good stir and you want to break that stuff up. You'll see it start to release. You can do this also by adding, if you were cooking in like a saute pan, you add white wine or any other liquid, you can deglaze the pan. It's the same. Yeah, but you could say you can deglaze the pan. Or broth. I mean, any liquid's gonna do it. So we need to, after that, we're gonna add the barbecue sauce. I'm a big fan of Sweet Baby Ray's. We always have been. It's like real straight shooter. I love it. It's one of the things. I think we only need a third.
And they have a bunch of different varieties, but we always go for that one. The
honey barbecue. I did notice today when I was at the store buying ingredients for tonight that they have a low or no sugar variety of this, which I don't know how that works, but when we did Whole30,
is it no added sugar? So it's
maybe yeah. That's so, as Amy has alluded to, when we did Whole30, you couldn't have any sugar among other things. It was beneficial, but also very hard. We made our own barbecue sauce with dates, and it was good. Very good. I mean, that's why we have the liquid smoke. It is. I'm mostly lazy right now. I mean, I should be making all of this. Why not? I got plenty of time. What else am I going to do? Make barbecue sauce? Apparently. How much was that? This is 1/3 of 1 cup. It's a little bit above the rim, but yeah. So we're going to add that. We need 1/2 cup of ketchup. I think we need to add all of that together. Yep, cups. We're going to add the barbecue sauce, the ketchup, the mustard, the vinegar, and the liquid smoke. So let's go ahead and get our ingredients ready. And then I would have, I'm going to get another spatula and just have that ready because you took the time to put it into these containers. I mean, you could probably eyeball it if you're really good, but I am not good at that. There's that. So let's get this. Where's the teeny tiny spatula? Oh, probably in the dishwasher. Oh, the dishes are clean in the dishwasher. They're running. Oh, sorry. 49 minutes. It's fine. This is going to work just fine. Okay, so let me just make sure I've got that. Cook until tender. Let's see if they're tender. Yeah, they're tender. Again, how do you know? What do they look like? They're going to become slightly translucent. They're going to lose some liquid. And because they're going to lose some liquid, it basically means the cell walls are breaking down and it releases liquid. I'm not a scientist, clearly, but I watched a lot of cooking stuff. So you are a dork. Just let's put it this way. Anything can be right on the internet. If you, the home audience, don't fact check me. If you fact check me and you comment oh no, it's not that. Well, I've already moved on. So let's just add the barbecue sauce. 1/3 of 1 cup. And go in there. Come on. Ideally, you'd have a smaller spatula, but this is a working household here, folks. We've just got dishes. We do more dishes. We are 3 people. We don't have children, and we do so many dishes. I can't imagine what you do if you have children. Do you never not do dishes? Because I got to tell you, I'm guessing you probably only do dishes. So, all right, add in the ketchup. Well, I mean, that doesn't smell terrible at all. So we need, how much of this? 1/4 cup.
Ta-da.
Right, of apple cider vinegar. I could probably processalize, that's a word that is, look it up, but about vinegar. It is a universal product for many things. Apple cider vinegar is good for a lot of cooking things. It's also, you can make fruit fly traps with it. You just take apple cider vinegar, add some sugar to it, mix it up. You buy those little apples at Home Depot. That's all that's in there. Look at the ingredients. You're getting ripped off of it otherwise. How much of this do we need? Sorry, I'm really against the.
Oh, your dog is chewing up an entire squeaky toy.
Well, that's not good because we don't want that.
Hey, can I have that?
Okay, hold on. I can't read. 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of mustard here. Out of the kitchen, guys. I'm going to step on you. Let's do it over this because then we can. Whoops.
Hey, you got to move to the side, man. We can't see.
Okay, well, I'm just putting mustard. It's 2 tablespoons. We're a little teeny tiny splash, a little bit, really.
I saw ones where they sprayed their spoons with like nonstick spray before they did stuff like that and slid right out.
Yeah. Somebody out there is much smarter than I am. So, and I think that's liquid smoke, and I believe we only need 1 teaspoon. That seems like a lot to me, but I mean that's a lot of beans.
Be careful.
Smoky.
It looks like you're doing something in secret.
I am doing something in secret.
There you go.
All right. Cool. Now we've got that done. We're gonna do a quick stir on this.
Folks are requesting more Dougie dance moves.
I don't have any dance moves. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is not a wedding.
Okay, so we need to just mix this up. Stir to combine.
There you go.
Oh yeah, this.
We have a plug over here. You could have put that thing over here.
Yeah, but this cord is teeny tiny long. It would have been like standing where you are. Here's a pro tip for your Instant Pot. Make sure before you put your lid back on this, you're going to want to wipe the rim down. If not, you're not going to get a good seal. And I'm not saying it'll blow up. Don't come at me, Instant Pot. I'm just saying, I mean, who knows? Again, I've already prefaced
to be cleanly.
Yeah, I've also prefaced all this that I am not a scientist. So, all right, that is combined.
Nor are you a product tester.
No, I have no idea what's happening. Okay, so we're going to add the brown sugar. Again, this recipe or a lot of recipes that I was reviewing this week call for light brown sugar. Again, dark brown sugar just has more molasses in it. That's it. Did you know that that's all dark brown sugar is? This is like white sugar, which they add molasses back to. But in the sugar making process, like they separate molasses from the sugar cane, and then the crystallized version of it's weird. It's a weird food product. I mean, sugar has everything, or like raw sugar has what you need. That's why when you buy sugar in the raw, it's brown. So we need 1/2 cup. That's our ketchup cup of brown sugar. Now it does not say packed, so that's a thing.
I think doesn't it imply packed?
No. I mean, recipes call packed or not packed. I mean, I think I pack it, but that's just me. And then, if it doesn't explicitly say it, I mean, haven't you always been taught just to pack your sugar so that you have? Adriana, I know that one's for you.
No, actually.
So
Teddy's asking if it makes it less environmentally responsible.
of me using brown sugar instead of regular sugar, or what?
I don't know. separating the molasses out and then putting it back in? That seems kind of crazy.
Listen, there was some episode of some children's show I watched, I mean, a lot of years ago, because I'm obviously not a child and I'm far from it, but I remember that. I want to say it was.
That would imply that you no longer watch children's shows as an adult.
That's true.
Not true.
I do. Anyways.
And then they want you to get into the difference between salts and which salt is the saltiest. We're not going there today.
Well, that is too much. That's like too granular. Ooh, man. Wah, wah, wah. I made myself laugh, and that's all that really matters in this instant.
Okay,
All
what's
right.
going on in there?
We're adding the beans back.
Oh, look at those beans.
Beans.
Say again, those are
Pinto beans.
how many?
1 pound, 16 ounces. You can.
You didn't count them because I asked you how many.
That's true. I would never count them. That seems crazy.
Also, Teddy wants you to know that sugar technology has progressed exponentially in the last 3 decades since you were a child and watched the show.
Okay. Well, I believe the people at 321 contact Teddy.
Heck yeah, me too.
Okay.
It's that show.
We need water. And look, we can use this half cup.
Aren't you supposed to use that other kind?
What other kind?
Remember we talked about the different kinds of measuring cups, and
Yeah.
that's a dry measure versus a wet measure.
Do as I say, don't do as I do, folks. Haven't you ever heard that one? Okay, half a cup.
Hey, I'm not good at tracking you today.
I'm gonna get one of
Last
those.
week I did way better.
I'm gonna get one of those cameras that just to help her out, that it just moves where I go, and it's like one of those paintings where the eyes follow you, and
And
you're
I
just.
don't even need to be here.
No, you do need to be
Sad.
here. So, all right, half cup of water. So we're getting going there. I'm just mixing this up a little bit more.
It sounds hot.
It does sound hot, but it's cooling down. All right. Reminder. Playing around. Oh man, that was real dirty.
It just helps to make a better seal, and you need that seal to get the pressure in there. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Again, it could be dangerous otherwise. All right, so reattach said lid. Okay. Oh, I was supposed to turn the Instapot off, but I didn't. Don't worry about that. It's fine. Let's turn it off now.
So how long did it take to cook the original beans?
25 minutes of actual cooking time, not to come up and come down. I'd say both together. It took about 8 minutes to come up, and then 25 minutes and another 18 minutes to come down. So I didn't let it come all the way down naturally, which is what you probably want to do according to the recipe. And then, so we're just going to turn it, make sure this is set to seal, manual, 15 minutes. Let's call it 25.
Oh, because it has to come out down.
Yeah.
So really and truly, this is more like a 2-hour dish, but
Probably,
a lot of it is
It's inactive time,
inactive.
as they say in the business, apparently. All right, we've got eggs to chop. So we're gonna try and fill 25 minutes.
So tell us about your eggs there, sir.
So I don't know where I got these. They're organic. They're from the Contented Hen. You know they're fresh because this one still has chicken feathers stuck to it. So somebody missed out in quality control. So yeah, there you go. I've been starting to get mostly organic eggs, and I like them. Well, I want them to be pasture free range because chickens are not vegetarians. I don't know if you know this. Chickens eat bugs. Chickens eat worms. You want them to do that. So pasture raised are going to be able to get out there and they're going to be able to peck and do that. Plus, they're going to be happier. And I don't know if you've ever seen a massive poultry farm. They are terrible Some have gotten better and have better practices, but like Tyson or anywhere else like that, big egg manufacturers. Oof.
So, and the yolks are always much more yellow,
I think.
so more vibrant.
I started making Nara, and when I first started making them with just like regular store-bought eggs, it was all right. You weren't getting the color that you're thinking like, oh, that's got like butter or whatever in it. And then we started getting the organic and pasture raised and stuff. They were way better. I mean, so I think my philosophy is.
Can you move the shrimp bowl so we can see the eggs better? Because they are very bright.
Yes. I subscribe to the fact that I eat meat. I think if you don't, that's fine, but I do because I think cows are yummy and chicken is yummy. But if you're going to eat meat, I think you should eat the highest quality you can buy and afford. And I also think that the practices in which they raise those animals should be humane. And they should, as this documentary we watched, I don't even remember what it was. It's like, it was on Netflix, and it talked about this. And there was a woman on there who talked about she raised pigs.
Oh, yeah.
And she talked about that I raise pigs that only have one bad day. I think you can get to that. One bad day means it's their time to go to the slaughterhouse, and that's where they're going to be killed. But, other than that, she takes care of them. They're open range. They can feed better. And there's science behind it. I mean, look at crop rotations that they used to do, and where they would move cows and pigs and stuff from pasture to pasture, and then they'd follow around with crops. You have better crops. Pigs, and they pee and poop, and they make all that uric acid and the composted material that comes out of their stomachs and things like that is good for the environment. That's what they want, because not only do you get good nutrients for the soil, but like insects live in the excrement and they provide food for chickens. So oftentimes you'll see they take chickens and put them in cow pastures and they, after a certain amount of days, they do that, and they then they eat the bugs that come out of it. So you get, you can have this sort of what's called permaculture, where you take care of the land, you take care of the animals, and it takes care of that.
Isn't that called symbiosis?
There is that too, but the term for that is called permaculture. There is an excellent documentary, if you have not seen it. It's called The Biggest Little Farm, and it's about a couple who bought an orchard outside of Los Angeles, and they documented the whole process. And it's really great. It's really intensive about, like, they took a farm that was dead, basically. The soil was dead, and then they used vermiculture, which is worm composting, and they built a huge facility, and they used that to water their fields and bring microbiotics back to the soil. And it just, over time, it was a thing that, it was really great, because you end up just having healthier soil, because and everything that they needed to solve problem-wise ended up being solved by listening to the land and watching. Like, they're like, oh, we've got ducks. Well, we've got this huge snail problem in our stone fruit orchard. Ducks love snails. Snails fatten ducks. It's like they had free food for the ducks. And so once they realized that was the case, they could eat them shell and all, then they, at that time, was like, oh, their problem was solved. So, we've gotten away from that. Individuals have farms, small plots and things like that, and they do that. But a lot of times you've got a garden box, and you're throwing in commercial fertilizer, you're throwing in, dirt that you buy in a bag, and you lose something from it. You need to get your hands dirty. And that's why, like, when you're cooking, that's very important. There's a huge movement, and it has been for many years, about farm to table or knowing where your food is coming from. And it's important, I think. If you've got small butchers, you've got small dairymen or cheesery people, what are cheese people called? Cheesemongers, fishmongers. Go and shop there. Don't shop at a big box market. It's going to be more expensive, but 9 times out of 10, you make a relationship with them, and they know you, you know them, and then you're getting better quality meat or whatever you're buying. So,
What was I gonna say here?
I don't know.
There's a debate about whether or not you should get chickens.
Ooh.
And I said, Amy said no. But Teresa wants chickens.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Billy said no. But John has the most space, but he thinks Moxie would eat them. I don't think so.
Put them in a pen. So.
What is in there so far?
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. So once you do the prep for this dish, this comes together pretty quickly because it's just mixing. So I've got the solid shrimp. I've got the eggs in there. I've got a very finely diced 2 sticks of celery. And this is a 1/4 cup of onion. I went with a Vidalia onion this time on this because this is a raw application. Vidalias are notoriously sweet. I didn't want as acidic as you can get it. So you're still going to get a little bit of the bite, but I cut this and you're not going to get that eye burning as much.
And it's pretty fine.
And this is also a really fine dice. So listen, I probably was born 100 years too late, except for I really love modern technology. So I don't think that's actually the case, but I forgot I need to cut this lemon. But I think I could be perfectly happy,
Watch it.
with a small plot of land or a couple acres of land and, have a modern, what I really want, hey, this is an ultimate goal. I don't want to buy a plot in the middle of Reno Sparks area somewhere that you can turn into a working urban farm that feeds neighborhoods and things like that. And I think that'd be like amazing because you kind of get something out of it. You give back to the community. We're only going to use half of this. Lemon squeezer. One time, I don't know, a million years ago, there's a radio station called The X here in Reno, and there was a DJ in the morning, Bruce Van Dyne or something like that. I don't remember. Anyways, it was during W's presidency, and he said something, and it made Amy laugh and made me wake up because he said Condoleezza lemon squeezer for Condoleezza Rice, and she still thinks this is the funniest thing. It's pretty funny because Condoleezza lemon squeezer is basically how he said it, and it was like I didn't even remember the context of what he was saying it anymore, but it was still pretty funny.
It was awesome.
Now,
ooh, that was a juicy one.
Yes, it was. Could if you had a drier lemon, could you use the whole lemon? Could you do this to taste? That's up to you. All of this is, again, once you get going, I like to make things by recipe, or if you know how basic ingredients come together, like that the first time. After that, play with it. If you thought it wasn't salty enough, or you didn't have enough spice, give it. That's the benefit of cooking. We often get a recipe that is step by step by step, and we never deviate. And we go, well, that's not good. But maybe the concept of the recipe is good. Maybe you're like, it would be better with chicken instead of shrimp, or steak instead of pork, or whatever. Play with it and see if that's the case. I mean, you never know. It also is your food preference. If you make a dish and you're like, I don't like the main ingredient, which is shrimp per se, substitute chicken. I mean,
just don't then review the recipe
Yes,
if you've made a bunch of changes and say that it's not good.
Yeah. How many times have you been on a recipe site and you're looking at the reviews of a recipe because it's like, man, this has got mostly 5 stars or mostly 4 stars. And then you're like, what do the 1-star people say? And I swear 9 times out of 10, they're like, well, I didn't have this and I didn't have this and my husband doesn't like this. So I substituted this, this, and this, and nobody really liked it. Well, recipes are formulated, to have the proportions right. You should really have a grasp on that before you go changing things. Don't be like, well, it calls for barbecue sauce, but all I have is ketchup. Well, barbecue sauce is not the same as ketchup, and you can't expect the results to be what the recipe says it is. So
I think it's fine if you make it like that. Just don't review the recipe.
yeah.
What do you got there?
This is 1 teaspoon of Old Bay.
Teddy is curious
Bay.
if your worms will eat the lemon rind.
You should not give citrus to worms. The acidity in it and the pH causes them to retract and could be harmful to the biome. So we need 1.
But you could put those in the composter.
You can put them in the composter. They will break down.
What kind of salt are you using?
I'm using kosher salt. I'm using 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. It's coarsely ground, so it's a little bigger as it would be. Now, you could use other salts. I mean, I'm not going to review salts. There's a great video from Ben Jacobson. No, was that Ben Jacobson? Jacobson Salt. Yeah, Ben Jacobson from Jacobson Salt in Oregon, right outside of Portland.
We went there.
On the coast. We went there, and he has a video on YouTube where there's a series of them, and I cannot remember who makes the series, but it's a series of Ask the Expert, and he talks about salt and what the difference between different salts is, and he tastes one salt, and he looks at it, and he feels, and they then ask him what the price difference is, and it's amazing how close they get it, and by sight they can see like the difference. That's why it's amazing. Like if you don't watch people who are really good at what they do something and be amazed by it, I don't know if we can be friends anymore. But it's because people like we got on those videos, I think, because there was a guy who his family made sheets.
Oh, yeah.
And they basically had him there, and he was talking about sheets. It's like 35 minutes of him talking about the different kinds of sheets. And then they'd give him sheets, and he's like, well, I can tell by this if this is this and this is this. And I would say this is about a $250 set of sheets. He's right on. Every single time, he was literally right on. Let's talk dill. I love fresh dill. It's like one of the best things ever. But we've got little pieces like this. You don't want those. They're starting.
What's wrong with it? Show us. Black.
It's starting to turn black, which probably means it got some moisture on it, which means it started to break down. And as we know, water is the universal solvent, and it will eventually dissolve everything. So this is 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of dried dill. If anybody knows what the conversion rate from fresh dill to dry dill is, put it in the chat and we'll go with that. I'm just going to grab that amount.
That's too much, I think.
Okay, that amount?
I think that was.
Okay. It was arbitrary. Listen, I fully admit, I was like, I don't know. So again, we talked about herbs before when we had cilantro for the Mexican street corn pasta. You want to roll it up as tight, and then again, it's a rolling action here because you want to actually slice through. A sharp knife is very important for this. If you're like pushing down and you're having a hard time getting through your herbs, you're bruising them and you're basically starting to break it down. So you're going to lose. This way, you're cutting them pretty cleanly. You're getting aromatics out of it. The oils start to come out depending on what you're cutting. But it already smells like dill in here. Like it's amazing. I love fresh dill. People who have had my homemade tartar sauce can attest that it's probably some of the best out there. I know there's a few people in the audience who have experienced it. And
is that considered a side dish?
No, it's not. It's an accompaniment. I mean, I guess if you're like us, and fish sticks are the main dish, and you only make fish sticks, and you're dipping them in
the tartar sauce.
Yeah, which then is it the fish sticks in a side dish for the. We get into a breakfast situation again, but we're not sure.
John would like to know how you sharpen your knives.
I have an electric sharpener. We got it for our wedding.
Oh, should I look at it?
I mean, I'm just gonna bring it out. You don't have to.
Here we go.
It's a chef's choice. It's the Edge Select 120. We've had this for how long have we been married? 12 years.
12 years.
It's the Diamond Home Sharpener Plus. Again, chef's choice doesn't pay me anything, but you can. And it's rock solid. It has 3 days, one for super dull stuff. I also believe this is for serrated knives.
Yeah.
And you can do that. But you use bay 1, 2, and 3, and that's good. But here, it's a really good. And I don't sharpen every single time. I do sharpen before the show, and that's just because I want like really ease of things going on.
A lot of fabric stores, like locally based fabric stores, will have somebody who sharpens scissors and knives.
That's true. Back in the day of the Yellow Pages, kids, it used to be a book that they would bring to your house, and it's this thick, and you can look up all kinds of things. Now we call it the internet. But you can look online and look for knife sharpeners. Sometimes there's mobile knife sharpeners. Will come to your house and do it. Or if you have a neighborhood butcher or even a butcher shop that you frequent, you can go there and ask them. A lot of times they will, I don't think they would even charge you. You'd ask, and you can just
We
ask.
have no idea. We've never done that.
We've never done that, but you can do that. Some people, I don't even think we have one. Yeah, no. You can hone the knife, so it goes back and forth. It's the metal pole thing. I mean, all you're really doing, that's not really sharpening the blade. So a lot of times,
It just straightens the blade.
yeah, sometimes your knife is not dull, but it's a thin edge. And whatever you're cutting will bend the metal one side of the next. So when you're cutting down, you're not actually cutting on the sharp side, you're cutting on a dull edge. So if you use the hone to hone it back, what is that called? It's not a hone. It's somebody tell me in the chat. Yeah, I know somebody knows what it is.
What I know is that Rayleigh's has free sharpening, and that Kathy says the Yellow Pages still exist.
Yeah, but nobody uses the Yellow Pages, Kathy. I mean, people in Alaska do because they're 20 years behind where we are down here in the lower 48. Believe me.
That might be offensive.
It's not offensive. Believe me. I lived there 18 years. It's a true story. All right, we're going to add. Did anybody find the conversion?
Teddy says 1 fluid ounce of dry dill is about 1 ounce of fresh dill. What the hell does that mean?
I mean,
Just put
a
that.
fluid
I
ounce.
think. Yes, that looks great.
Yeah. It's just going to be more dilly. Okay. All right. So we got everything else in here. We need mayonnaise, and we need 3/4 of 1 cup, which I'm going to do it in a 1/4 cup because I'm terrible at eyeballing in the regular cup. And you know what I think they should do is, and I'm sure that there are plenty of places that do it. This one has 1/2 cup line. Why don't they have 3/4 cup? And if that's all you got, what if you have gone on a crazy measuring spree and all of your measuring cups or all your little ones are in there and you've got one big one? You gonna eyeball it? No, it's crazy talk. All right.
Hey, don't do anything wild.
I'm gonna stay right here. All right. So what I've got, I'm gonna. Well, I put that in there, but I don't know. So I'm gonna top this off here and make sure I flatten it. So I've been exploring ways in our off hours between weeks we do this show on how to sort of make it less difficult for us. Like in the beginning, like today, Amy had the idea, well, we could just point the camera at the counter and then bring it up on you. But I think it would kind of be funny if I had some sort of crazy graphic at the beginning. It was like, side dish will be starting and blah, blah, blah. And then we could figure out a countdown. But, I like when they, like on The Simpsons, where they're like the TV and it's like, and it's a cartoony thing. We should do something like that. Also, I'm still looking for anybody who's got an idea about a logo. If you've got any skills like that, I'll totally give you credit. I won't even say that I did it myself, even though, and you're watching this going, that guy is full of it. I did that for him. But the generic S that is created when you just create a YouTube channel and name it, it's not really cutting it. I'll try. Do you have suggestions maybe of what it should look like? What would you have? I was thinking a little, yeah, that's fine. I did it. You know when you have those moments?
We're eyeballing this.
Where you, listen, we're half of a cup, roughly. We've got a little bit more.
Ooh.
That's sound beans.
Good sound.
So beans are done. They're done cooking. They've got to come down. So we're gonna let that happen. That was a fast 15 minutes, wasn't it? Ooh, we're a long episode tonight, folks, but that's okay. There we go.
You should have just used the cup measure because that's about what you got in there. Because everything you scooped on the side over there.
That's because I didn't get everything out all the time. That is for that. All right, go from there, and that's it. Now we mix.
Wait, is that really everything?
That's it.
No salt? Did you put salt?
I put salt in it.
Okay, sorry.
Celery, eggs, shrimp, onion, dill, salt, Old Bay, mayo, and lemon.
Okay.
All right. Technically, Amy usually makes this. I don't make this, but you know, I'm on her talent, and she's just the great producer. So here I am. Ooh, those eggs have really put some color to it today. Don't you think?
Yeah, those better the good eggs.
Yeah. All right. We've given this some seasoning already. Okay. Depending on your audience, you can leave it as it is. I would taste it, and we're going to because I told you we're going to, and I'm a man of my word. But
and you would add pepper.
I would add pepper because I like a little black pepper. But because we usually make this for Amy's mom, she is not a fan of black pepper, so we don't add it. All right. So this is going to naturally release. So while we're doing that, we'll taste this, and we'll do should we put it in a fancy container? No. Special shout out.
Oops, I didn't follow you.
That's okay. Special shout out this week to Korean grandma over at Teresa's house. She made me Dandelion Kimchi.
Go get it. Show it.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, speaking of which, this is day 3. I follow instructions. I got to get it in the fridge, or we're going to be in deep trouble. All right. So it's dandelion. Oh man, the bubbles are going crazy. Dandelion leaf kimchi. I'm really excited to try this. I've never really eaten dandelions. I think leaves, maybe.
In salads, you have.
They're probably a little bitter. I
Yeah.
think. Anyways, I'm excited to see how this all comes together. We got to get this in the fridge. I was given strict instructions, and I do not want to break them. I was told to leave it on the counter for 3 days and then put it in the refrigerator and do not eat before 5 days.
Okay.
All right.
I thought you were going to put it in the fridge. You're going to forget.
No, I'm not. Don't worry. I'm not. We're going to eat. Here we go. So. Ooh, good flavors. Very tangy.
Well, there was a lot of juice in that lemon.
There was. You got your own spoon.
Thank you.
I only put a teaspoon of salt in there, but it seems a little salty. I don't know why.
Was it a heaping teaspoon?
No. It's literally evened off. It might mellow.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like potato salad or egg salad or anything like that, this is going to be better tomorrow.
See, different tastes because
Yeah.
I think it's perfect.
So I'd leave it. We're going to leave it as is because I can eat more salt than, But like I said, tomorrow we'll make some breakfast. We'll have that as one of the side dishes. We'll use it later and go from there. All right. So we're done with that. Got a little wet, but we'll transpose it and put it. I'm slowly going back through and working through the descriptions to get recipes in there or links to recipes in there. So, be patient. Tomorrow's Father's Day, right? Is it Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. What are you guys gonna do? If you're a father, what do you guys got planned? Are you gonna hang out? You're gonna just, somebody gonna make you breakfast in bed? One of those kids? I don't know. We don't have children, so we don't have that fun. Ted, your parents are in Portland, so you can make your dad breakfast in bed tomorrow. I think that's a great idea with your little egg pan.
More importantly,
What?
my birthday is on Monday.
That is a true statement. Amy, how young will you be this year?
So rude. You never ask somebody how old they're going to be, especially not a lady.
I'm 42.
I'm not telling you.
All right. Huh? All right. Well,
You're at an hour and 5 minutes. Oh, what?
Turdar. It didn't have to come up very much. Oh my God, those look delicious.
Okay, well, let's see them because we can't see them.
I know. Hold on. I'm going to take it out and put it on the counter. I mean,
It sounds like you have a little sticking. Does it stick to the side? No?
all right.
There you go. John's asking me what level I am. There we go.
Oh, man.
That's a questionable answer.
That's a giant pot of baked beans, everybody.
Ooh, that looks good.
And this, I don't know. I mean, if you make baked beans at home the traditional way, how long does it normally take you? Was this a space saver? Do you use fresh beans? Do you use canned beans? That's the thing with this. I didn't use fresh beans. I used dried beans, I should say. But we're talking an hour here from start to finish, basically. I jibber jabbed a lot through this, so you could probably do it if you weren't doing that a little faster. But you got delicious homemade baked beans. Should we try out these two? They're
Yeah,
probably
there's my spoon.
pretty damn hot, I would imagine. Oh man, they smell good. Woo! They're tangy. The beans have texture to them, which is good. I don't think you want them too mushy. So, you want to. I think that's a good thing. I like the flavor's good. I'd probably add a little salt, a little more salt myself. I think that would be it. I don't know. All right, we did it again, everyone. We made it through. I just want to say again, thank you for watching, sticking through an hour. I know we're about 15 to 20 minutes over normally. I just want to say, be kind, be loyal, and let's look out for each other and do something nice for people. All right, thanks. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.